Hi team, welcome to the end of another week and the beginning of another video showing what's happened around this place this week. I thought I'd start by showing off the outline of our septic bed, which is something that we've been waiting to discover for a little while now, so that we can determine what parts of the property we can grow things on. And so you can see here that the septic bed is outlined in little yellow flags, and you can see the risers just about there. Unfortunately, knowing where our septic bed does help, yes, but our septic tank needs to get replaced, and so we'll probably be doing that next year. And there's a possibility that the bed won't end up being the same size. However, this does let us know what we have right now, and lets us know where we can probably expand and grow things in the future. Let's go see what else is going on. Looking at this hanging potted plant, there's so many flowers on it. This plant was something that I had expected we were going to end up throwing out because there was so much dead stuff on it. But after a bit of a haircut, we're treated to some of these gorgeous flowers. Here we can see the turnips just thriving. It's really looking like we're actually going to end up with some turnips, which is really exciting. You can see that they have been damaged by the bugs a little, but the leaves are still going. The stalks are starting to get, let's get in here, the stalks are starting to get nice and thick. Not necessarily everything is great in the garden though. Let's take a look at our rainbow chard, and they're being chomped on by critters. Critters being rabbits or groundhogs, we're not really sure. And honestly, it doesn't really matter too much. We figured it was unlikely that we would actually get anything out of this garden, and that a lot of the things that are growing in here may end up being snacks for creatures, or we just might not be able to get any productivity in the amount of time that we had left in the season when we planted stuff. You can see down here that the beets are also facing this problem. So the carrots and the turnips seem to not be a favorite food of the friends around here, but the rainbow chard and the beets definitely seem to be. Let's actually go in the garden here and take a look at some spinach. The spinach is going. It's not going that lively, but it's going. But what I was really hoping to get a good shot of while I was in here is that bunch of tomatoes just dangling. So let's get a little bit closer. Here we go. This is an even better view than I had hoped, because we have this beautiful string of cherry tomatoes on this bunch, but then just in the background there's a couple more strings and a new string getting started there. And so for now anyway, it's starting to look more and more like we might actually get some tomatoes, unlike our strawberries, which we will not get any out of, but we like to watch them grow. One thing that's not gardening, but is house related, is we redid the caulking on the back side of our house. And we did that because it needed it. So that's the end of that story. We've been pretty lucky with the fact that a family of blue jays seems to have moved into the neighborhood. Let's see if I can get these twerps. Lol, since I'm out here. Look at this giant pile of grass clippings I've got under this tree. We have so much grass. So much grass and not much to do with it. So we planted a whole lot of clover over here, hoping that some of it would take, even though we weren't able to get all this lawn cut. I would be surprised if we ended up with any clover out of that seed batch, but what we do have is an awful lot of this ground cover in this stuff, which I don't know what it is, but it's not a bad thing to look at. Back in our wildflower field here, we do still have a whole lot of stuff growing. However, it's really hard to say if any of this is wildflowers or if it's weeds. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. We're going to take a look at the center garden here, but one thing you can see right away from a distance is that these sunflowers aren't really looking too happy. The petunias, I think, is what is in here, are thriving, but the sunflowers have not handled the past week of rain and storms all that well. It's looking a little sad. That's okay. We tried. And maybe it's just time for this particular flower to not look fresh anymore. But one little thing that we can see on this other sunflower is that there's a whole bunch of other flowers that might open up for us. So that's serendipitous. Not too much has changed with our future garden location. However, we have begun to figure out where we're going to get the wood chips from. That might happen this week, that might not happen this week. I guess we'll have to just update in another video. This is our majestic chestnut tree. We've mentioned this in the past, but this tree was left to us by the previous owners of this property, and they had left it in a pot for us. We decided that even though we didn't really know where our garden and food forest might go, that we should just go ahead and plant it. It's not looking too hot. So maybe it'll live, maybe it won't, but hey, at least we tried. And I'll just leave with a nice little shot of the back of our house from what is essentially the edge of our garden. What a little paradise. That's all for this week. Thanks for hanging out, and can't wait to show you what's changed over the next week next time.